So, one giant question I have to Kevin and Stan. You guys created massively iconic characters. Does that like ever resonate with you guys where you're just like, fuck yeah, I did this. Like, this is awesome. Like, I mean, like, between the two of you, you have characters that honestly everyone knows, everyone loves, and like, there's been so many iterations, if even just like the Turtles alone, that like, it's got to be some type of like a boost, you know, like.
Well, it's tough, you know. For me, speaking first, I think Stan and I and Peter, the co-creator of the Ninja Turtles, of course, we couldn't have done the Turtles without him. Our passion and our dream when we were kids was to draw comic books, and the fact that we created something that fans embraced and loved and allowed us to continue drawing comic books for a living. My first comic book came out, I was 21, I'm 55 now, and I've been drawing comics, you know, my whole adult life, and I just feel like the luckiest guy on the planet, and that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what I do. I'm just blessed that I'm able to do that. It's more, you know, it's grateful that I'm able to do what I love and make a living at it.
Right.
It is incredible.
That's awesome. So another question. So there's been tons of iterations of the Ninja Turtles. You know, you had the cartoons from the '80s, you had the original comics, you had the live action adaptations. Have there ever been thought of actually going like more towards the original comics and coming out with like a really ballsy and gritty black and white, like that just is like bloody and gory, that's just like, you know, for the young adults that were kids growing up that are now like, yeah, I want to see Leo slice someone's head off with those katanas instead of using them as just guards or something. You know?
do like Raid Redemption 3 starring the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. I think they're considering that after the Ice show.
Okay.
There's going to be a Ninja Turtle Holiday on Ice show.
Holiday Ice.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know? Oh, surprise. I hope you can skate.
We're all learning to skate for that.
Right.
We chopped a couple heads off today.
Yeah. We did.
Actually,
No,
you know, this version of the show
16?
is darker than anything else that's come out.
It is.
It has parts of it, yeah.
I agree. No, that's what's interesting is like, you know, as the audiences have grown up and grown into it, what I love about the new Nickelodeon show is, like Rob was saying, is that there is some, you know, like the pizza zombies.
Oh, man.
Freaked me out.
Some of the bad guys are freaky.
Oh, yeah. We brought it back with the Ice Cream Kitty episode and stuff. I think that, you know, they put a wonderful edge on that.
Yeah.
You know, in the movie, you know, I don't know if, you know, Turtles Forever, they did the Turtles back in the black and white. You've done some wonderful versions here where you've taken the Turtles back to the 80s cartoons. I don't know. We've just never gone there.
I bet it'll happen one day.
Yeah.
Maybe to be like a fan film.
Yeah,
Like,
it should happen as like a short, like a 7-minute thing.
yeah. Like since Robert Rodriguez doing
There you go.
Sin City Turtles.
That's right.
Turtles in Sin City.
That's right.
Sin City
Grindhouse
Black and White.
Turtles.
Oh my god, that would be...
Because I mean, like, what I loved with you guys was when you and Peter came up with the original one. Like, you guys, from all the interviews I've seen, you had like no thought that this would become the phenomenon that it is, and you know what it's turned into. And so the fact you killed off like your main villain in the first like issue, and then you're like, well, shit, you know, now what? So like,
Well, we were so angry because we sold all those issues. No, that was, I mean, honestly, when we did the first issue, it was the idea that it would be just one story complete. We never thought we'd get an opportunity to put out a second issue, so we wanted just one story to be told. That's why it was 40 pages, and we had the whole adventure. So the fact that, you know, people wanted us to do a second issue, we were like, oh, okay.
Sure.
But it was great because it gave us room to come up with so many other characters. You know, Baxter Stockman, introduce April, Casey Jones, and stuff. But at some point, you know, Pete and I think, held out to like issue 8 when we said, we're not going to bring back the Shredder. Oh man, it'd be really fun to bring back the Shredder. So finally, by the time we got to issue 10, it was like, you know, it's time to bring it out.
Okay. So now to the voice cast. Where have you guys found your inspiration to create the characters that, you know, are first off iconic as it is, but now you're putting your own spin and twist on them? I mean, you've played both Raphael and Donnie now.
Right, I'm 50% of the Ninja Turtles and one middle-aged white guy. Well, as far as inspiration goes, I was, as you mentioned, certainly when we recorded the first version of the show, we had no idea. And I think virtually anybody who ends up having, you know, something that becomes iconic for 200 million people, if they tell you 30 years later, oh yeah, I knew it, they're lying to you. This is a crapshoot, man. And it is, what is, the testament is to what Kevin and Peter created, because it still is valid and impactful, and you're here talking to us about it 34 years later. That is what's remarkable. It's like there are very Disney, Warner Brothers, Ninja Turtles, that's a very small group. Right. And I mean, I'm like Stan and Kevin said.
I feel like we got so lucky in this. The black and white version was what it was. But Rob was one of the original guys that put the first voice to one of our characters, and that was like the freakiest, scariest thing ever. Because you have different voices in your head. I'm sure you do, Stan. It's like when you write your character, you have this voice in your head. And we said, they made the right choice, obviously. Right. It's like to bring Raphael to life, but that was 5 episodes. It was a complete crapshoot.
Playmates paid for.
That Playmates paid for, and you and Barry and Townsend and Ham brought our characters to life, and that was like, I still got getting goosebumps. But it's like I remember, it was Christmas '87, right to the New Year. They paid those 5 episodes, and I remember sitting there watching them. And actually, my mother was finally believed I could actually make a living because it showed in the TV guide they were going to be actually on air. I wasn't lying, But no, it was fantastic.
Well, and Stan and Kevin, the truth is, I think now I'm driven by the same passion I have to create and perform that I did when I was 15 years old. And I don't think anybody here started performing because it thought it was going to make us rich. Right. I mean, I got to make I got to make a living, and I've been rich and poor, and rich is decidedly better. But I'm still driven by the same passion I was years ago, and so grateful for the opportunity to work with my friends. It's just, you're looking at a bunch of lottery winners, really. Yeah.
For me, the knowledge of voice acting, because I didn't go to school for performing arts, I went to school for production. If you want, I can help you edit this later if you guys need help. But I really did learn good voice acting fundamentals and principles through watching that man right there on every cartoon that I would race home after school to watch. And kids, if you know this, sometimes cartoons were only available on Saturday mornings. Now they're going to be shown on this bottle of water, anything with the reflective surface. But I learned everything that I need to know about voiceover from people like you and Rob Paulson and Tress McNeil and Jess Harnell, Tara Strong, some really talented folks, Greg Sipes. We're pretty much the same age, though, which is kind of crazy. But, that's pretty much it.
So where'd you get your inspiration for voice acting?
I get my inspiration from being a prank caller.
Really?
I grew up prank calling. The Jerky Boys was my biggest inspiration.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
Thank you.
So now, to Rob.
Yeah.
As they've all said, you've done almost every childhood character from as far back as I can remember. Who have you honestly loved voicing the most out of everyone you've ever voiced?
Well, I would probably say the next one, which means I'm still working.
I can answer that for him.
Yeah,
my favorite Rob Paulson role was Snow Job in G.I. Joe.
I get people. It's an embarrassment of riches, man. And it sounds coy, but it really is true. How do you? I've inarguably been 2 iconic characters just with respect to Kevin's show.
Right.
Just that alone for most actors is pretty remarkable. But when you throw in Yakko and Pinky and Carl and a bunch of other stuff, Mighty Max and the Tick and all that, I don't even know. Listen, if somebody said you could do Ninja Turtles every day of your life for the rest of your life with this group, I'd say, yeah, sign me up. That's my favorite show. I'm so. Did you see the panel today?
No, I didn't get to it yet.
It is mind blowing.
I'm a real fan.
I'm ashamed of myself. Believe me, trust me.
You would have asked the head chopping question. There's literally 12 heads rolled in that episode. And they weren't robots.
So thank you for your kind words.
No problem. So one big question, as you said, every one of you, I'm sure, is a fan of the show.
Oh yeah.
What has been your favorite episode to either work on or watch, whether it was as you're a kid or as something that you yourself was on and you're like, that came out really great. So go around the table.
Oh, Usagi, of course, Yojimbo. It looks great.
Rightfully so.
It's beautiful.
What was your favorite Turtles episode?
Think hard now.
Oh, what can it
the
be?
one-
3% chance of being right.
But the one we just saw, that Lone Wolf and Cubs.
Oh, that one.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite moment, at least, is in Wrath of Tiger Claw when he comes out of the worm's belly.
Oh yeah.
Talk about
I
being
drew
dark.
that.
But that was like the '80s Tiger Claw.
Right.
Like I wish I could make a fake animation cell of that scene, like a cell
badass.
setup. That would
It
be
really
so
was.
cool. Yeah.
My favorite moment is still to come. It's the Ice Cream Kitty song on the new DVD coming out.
Oh, that
This
sounds
guy's the best
exciting.
promoter any turtle could ever
No,
hope
it's
for.
true though.
Yeah.
It's my favorite moment. And it's like a 4-minute moment.
It's crazy. It's hard for me because I'm not done the show yet. So maybe somewhere towards the very end, some of those last Usagis are pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ones after that, it just keeps escalating. So somewhere in the last 5 or 6 episodes, it's for sure in there.
Okay.
Ever.
There was an episode we did this 2 seasons ago where Donatello is like, when I was a kid, I used to build models, Rat Fink models, Ed Big Daddy Roth, you know all those guys. Remember the Donnie, the Demon Donnie, where I'm like in a juiced up Charger or something, and I come out of the machine, the car eats me up, and then I come out of the top with the big, Rat Fink. Very and screaming all over the it was so much fun.
Very Stephen King.
Right, it was Christine meets Ed Big Daddy Roth.
Because I was all out in the woods, and it's like
Yeah.
Casey with the hot rod.
Right,
and
with a
all-
hot rod, and I just
That was
what was that? That was my
awesome. I
favorite
love that
episode. Oh, I love that.
And it was great because that was the one where you and Casey, who had this thing going forever,
Yeah.
finally went, hey, you know what? I love you, man. Like,
Thank you.
yeah, it was good. It was good.
That was, sorry, but yeah, that was my favorite because I got to just. I
had
had
that great
pieces
surf
of
track.
scenery stuck in my teeth.
Besides all of them, I still love the very first episode. I loved with the introduction of the characters. The first time they came up above ground. I loved. What was the one inside Mikey's brain?
Yeah,
Laughed
Inside
and
Mikey's
laughed
brain.
and laughed and laughed, and then when you brought Renette back, because she was a character from the original
Oh,
series,
so good.
and of course Ice Cream Kitty with the pizza Rat King in the.
The Rat King
Jeffrey
stuff,
Combs
so
is the
good.
Rat
Jeffrey
King?
Combs is
Oh, I
so
know that
awesome.
What an
He's
actor!
so great.
So
What an
it's
actor!
hard to pick one.
Okay.
All the wood stuff was really near and dear to me.
Yeah.
Like, I love the. I got in trouble a little bit, but